Our entire dorm is full of omegas. My roommate claimed getting a temporary mark from a close buddy works better than suppressants. I took it to heart. When my heat hit, I cornered my childhood friend Alpha Liam in a hallway. They say temporary marks work fast. Do it now. Suddenly, sharp lemon scent flooded my senses as his voice turned gravelly. Did they mention permanent marks work better? My first instinct was to bolt when I spotted Liam on campus. The sunset painted the sky crimson after military training, prime dinner time. Yet here I was sprinting across quad with his lanky frame gaining ground. Swerving into an academic building. I barely reached an empty classroom before his palm slammed against the door. His neatly trimmed fingernails gleamed. But that hardly mattered when his ridiculous strength overpowered my athlete's build. Damn. Which one of us is the student athlete here? Liam loomed half a head taller. Slightly winded as he cocked his head. Why run? My eyes nearly popped out. That's my line. Why chase when I'm clearly avoiding you? Before I could retort, he stepped closer. The door clicked shut behind us, backing into a front row desk. I stammered, "Though you what?" His nostrils flared, gaze locking on my scent gland. "You smell different." Presenting as Omega? I froze. 3 months ago, I'd been an undifferentiated high schooler. Liam was my childhood friend and desk mate, perfect grades, sharp looks, that quiet magnetism. Meanwhile, I reeked of gym sweat. He'd grimace when I wiped my face with my shirt, sigh when I chewed pencils. Eventually, his holier-than-thou act grated. After learning he presented early as Alpha, I teased, "If I ever turn into some laid-back Omega, you'd lose it." He'd stared intensely. "If it's you." I'd manage. "Me?" Defiant. I'd shot back. "Who want to be your Omega anyway? I'm gonna be Alpha." Yet here I was, freshly presented Omega. He'd never let me live this down. "You're quiet." Liam frowned, brushing my forehead. Feeling sick? I batted his hand away, surprised by his concern. "I'm fine." "Why'd you choose this college?" With his grades, Liam could easily get into Harvard or MIT. Hearing this, Liam's eyes flickered as he drawled. "State U has the major I like. Plus, you ran off to this faraway place without a word. My mom told me to look after you since you're unfamiliar here." I fell silent. Maybe I was overthinking things. Despite Liam's germaphobe tendencies, we'd basically grown up together. Guess that made us bros. Kinda. The thought made me glance at him. His military training uniform hugged his tall frame, dark hair brushing sharp features that could have been carved from marble. The air buzzed with mingling scents of lime and peat, our pheromones doing their weird tango. Clearing my throat, I suddenly felt overheated. "Dude, I'm hitting the dorm. This heat's killer." I swiped at my sweaty forehead, brushing past him. 3 steps away. His fingers closed around my arm. When I turned, his gaze burned against the nape of my neck before he looked away. Adam's apple bobbing. "I'll walk you." Whatever. Liam and I were in different colleges, so our paths rarely crossed during drills. During break, my roommate Lucas plopped down beside me. I sniffed air. "Yo, Lucas. You reek of Alpha." That grapefruit scent reminded me oddly of Liam's. Wait, why was I thinking about him? As I shook my head, Lucas mumbled, "My brother Oliver helped me through my heat cycle. Said temporary marks work better than suppressants." My jaw dropped. Brothers could do that. Some girl behind us muttered about fake sibling vibes. But my brain short-circuited. If this worked, maybe next time my heat hit, Liam started showing up every other day with lemonade that matched his pheromones. Weirdly, other alphas kept their distance whenever we hung out. Me? Scaring them off? Maybe my gym gains paid off. On the final drill night, our battalion belted camp songs under starless skies. Restless energy buzzed through me until I sprang up. "Who's down for bar hopping or karaoke?" The grass stains on my jeans glowed faintly under stadium lights. An alpha chimed in. Since we already sang tonight, how about hitting a bar? I glanced at him, Dylan Clark from the neighboring class, rumored to be Lucas Brown's high school friend. Both Lucas and Ryan seemed agreeable. My alcohol-deprived brain lit up. My strict parents had never let me drink before. But I was legal now. What harm could one try do? We descended upon the campus-adjacent bar. Slouched in the booth, I recklessly ordered multiple cocktails. The chilled, fruity drinks went down smoothly, barely any burn. Perfect. These low-proof beverages shouldn't knock anyone out. Yet as I kept sipping, sudden heat flooded my veins. That telltale tingle shot up my spine, limbs turning to jelly millef. Damn irregular omega cycles. Who gets triggered by casual drinking? Gritting through the weakness, thank you. Daily workouts. I mumbled excuses about emergencies and dialed Liam. He answered instantly, his crisp voice cutting through the nighttime buzz. Ethan. Background silence suggested he was still at the dorm. I'm at XX bar near campus. Neoride. The pause felt weighted, somehow displeased. Before I could overthink, his terse stay put ended the call. Waiting outside, I checked the time away past curfew. He'd never make it back now. Guilt tinged. I booked a nearby hotel room through the app. Footsteps approached urgently. Liam came jogging up. White tee rumpled. Dark hair wind tousled under neon lights blazing. The city's chaotic traffic roared behind him as our eyes met. Ethan, you've got some nerve. He closed the distance. Sharp citrus scent punching through my haze. Every cell screamed for proximity. Dragging him toward the hotel. I ignored his frown. Where exactly? Your pheromones. Blindly checking in. I clutched the key card, hyper-aware of his vibrating tension beside me. The elevator ride blurred, survival instincts overriding social graces. Door slammed. Darkness. Shoving him against wood. I bared my neck. My roommate said temporary marks beat inhibitors. You're alpha. Do it. Can't even see me in the dark. No complaints about awkwardness. His breathing hitched. Silence stretched. Impatience flared. Come on. Bro, code. My roommate's brother helps him all the... Even Oliver Brown could mark him. Liam Johnson might always act like he's annoyed by me. But we've been best friends since diaper days. Since he's slightly older. Technically, he counts as my brother. I kept rambling, completely missing the man's suddenly darkened gaze. After what felt like eternity, I heard a hoarse murmur, "Your roommates, right?" Lime-scented pheromones engulfed me the next instant. The towering figure pressed closer, flipping our positions to pin me against the door. His teeth sank into the swollen gland at my neck. The sharp pain brought tears to my eyes, and I whimpered involuntarily. Why did this hurt worse than suppressant shots? When I tried shoving him away, he interlaced our fingers, palm sweating against mine. His raspy whisper tickled my ear. Did he mention permanent marks work better? Permanent marks? My foggy brain struggled to focus. I'd always assumed I'd present as alpha, skipping every Omega education lecture for basketball practice. Hell, I barely knew alpha biology either. But even clueless me understood what permanent marking meant. That required. A hand slid under my shirt. I froze. Liam? This was supposed to be temporary. Before I could react, his teeth found my gland again. The surge of pheromones melted my bones. I sagged backward into his scorching embrace. Thump thump. Our racing heartbeats synchronized. Something hard pressed against my lower back. I stopped breathing. His heated murmur vibrated against my skin. Ethan. The room thickened with peach and lime aromas. When he finally released my neck to kiss my cheek, I shoved him hard. He staggered back, dazed. As I bolted out shouting, "I'm good. Rest well." Damn. The temporary mark worked wonders. Nearly lost my virtue, too. Back at campus after ditching my 5-star hotel plans, I got chewed out by the dorm matron. Exhausted, I crept into my room expecting Lucas and Ryan. All 3 beds stood empty. Me? Where did everyone go? I checked my phone. It was past midnight. Feeling uneasy, I called Ryan. The phone rang several times before connecting. But before I could ask Ryan, "Where are you?" I heard muffled whimpers. His tearful voice came through brokenly. "Ryan, wait. I need to answer this." My face burned as realization hit. The phone suddenly felt scorching. Glad you're okay. Talk later." I blurted, hanging up hastily. Next I tried Lucas. Ryan having a partner made sense. But Lucas was single. The call rang endlessly before disconnecting. Had something happened? Panicking, I contacted Dylan from another dorm through Night Owl classmates. Turned out Lucas had been picked up by his brother Oliver. Probably asleep then. Relieved, I noticed the dorm's hot water was off, sticky with sweat. I took a cold shower and collapsed into bed. The night's adrenaline crash hit hard, between the heat cycle turmoil and exhaustion. I fell asleep instantly, unbeknownst to me. Across town in a hotel room, a certain man buried his face in pillows with frustrated groans. Post-military training break found me hibernating in my dorm, eating delivery meals and stocking suppressants. The peace was nice, if dull. Both Ryan and Lucas stayed elsewhere now, one love-struck, the other preferring family proximity. Left me, Ethan, as the lone wolf. Well, except for Liam. But Liam hadn't contacted me since that night. Probably regrets nearly losing control despite disliking me. My cheeks flamed remembering the ABO guides I devoured. Had I known heat cycles could trigger alpha instincts? I slammed my textbook shut, irritation simmering until dinner time. There he stood in the cafeteria, Liam. My pulse jumped. He turned abruptly as if sensing my gaze, our eyes meeting briefly before he strode away. The rejection stung. Should I confront him or eat? I sprinted after him. We needed closure. But before I could catch up to him, I collided head-on with someone. Immediately, 3 alphas surrounded me. One of them shoved me aggressively, snarling, "You stepped on my shoes." Another chimed in, "You got any idea who Dylan is? Punk. Watch where you're going. Not gonna apologize." The cafeteria crowd had thinned out by this hour. Cornered but unfazed, I muttered, "Sorry, it was an accident." Though I worked out regularly, my lean frame looked downright petite sandwiched between these hulking alphas from outside the circle. You could barely see me. Someone's nostrils flared suddenly, their gazes locked onto my face, eyes turning predatory. "You're an Omega?" Ice flooded my veins. I already apologized. Move. They didn't budge. A silent understanding passed between them. The ringleader grabbed my collar, dragging me toward the shadows. "Your pheromones are off the charts." "Heat cycle." "Huh? Let us help you out." "Screw you." I swung a punch at his jaw, but the overpowering alpha pheromones hit me like a truck. My muscles turned to jelly mid-swing. Another alpha caught my wrist effortlessly, laughing. Feisty little thing. They manhandled me into the corner. I elbowed one attacker in the ribs, then spun to kick Dylan square in the gut. Fuck. Dylan's face purpled with rage. I broke free and bolted. 3 strides later, I crashed into arms smelling of fresh limes. My breath hitched. "Liam? Since when did the honor student get involved in brawls?" Before I could shout for him to run, he charged past me. I turned just in time to see Liam, gentle, bookish Liam, pummeling the alphas with brutal precision. By the time I snapped out of my daze and pulled him off, his knuckles were bloody and his eyes suspiciously bright, heart pounding. I looked away. Let the faculty handle this. He nodded silently. Assaulting an Omega carried serious consequences. All 3 attackers got disciplinary strikes. Walking back to dorms later, I kicked a pebble hard. Why'd you rush off earlier? The words came out harsher than intended. I don't bite. You know, long silence. Then, barely audible, I thought, you didn't want to see me. My steps faltered. That night flashed through my mind, the whispered plea for a permanent mark. Had that been heat-addled nonsense? I forced a laugh. Look, I messed up last time. Should have remembered omega pheromones affect alphas. Let's just forget it. I thought he'd relax when I said that, but instead, my wrist was suddenly grabbed and yanked, forced to turn around. I faced him. The sky had darkened completely, streetlights casting hazy circles of light. When I unexpectedly met his intense gaze, my heartbeat quickened inexplicably. Liam stared straight at me, enunciating each word, Ethan. I was actually really happy that night. What? Happy? I stumbled over my words. Huh? Why, you don't hate me anymore. His eyes flickered with something like confusion. Why would you think I hated you? I've always liked you. Like me. Those simple words hit like a thunderclap. Fireworks exploded in my mind. But I hadn't forgotten his behavior back in high school. Back then, you'd frown when I lifted my shirt to wipe sweat. Sigh when I chewed on pen caps. Wasn't that disgust? Liam paused, then smirked. He closed the distance between us, murmuring something in my ear. My face burned crimson. You absolute jerk. After that day, Liam started showing up for meals with me again. But this time, he claimed he was officially pursuing me to make up for past misunderstandings. I had no words. What's it like when your longtime best friend suddenly treats you like royalty? Kinda awesome. Honestly, once, I pushed my half-finished, oversized meal toward him at a diner, grinning mischievously. You don't mind, right? The man across the table arched an eyebrow, but wordlessly took my leftovers. I meant to fluster him, but under his smoldering stare, I became the one squirming, ears flaming. Since when did he get so smooth? I busied myself gulping water until his low chuckle snapped my gaze upward. His eyes sparkled with amusement. Something in me snapped. I lunged across the table, grabbed his chin, and kissed him. Oh, the surrounding cheers registered belatedly. I turned to find half the cafeteria watching us avidly. Perfect. Some people might seem alive, but they're already dead inside for a while. By the time we exited, my face matched a baboon's backside. Liam fared slightly better, pale-faced but with ears crimson enough to bleed. His voice roughened. Ethan, you publicly compromised me. Don't I deserve proper commitment now? Compromised? Gaped. He's one to talk after baiting me like that, though his lips were surprisingly soft. And his scent? Irresistible. All right. My conditions are barely passable in every aspect. Even though I'm an omega, I'm man enough to take responsibility. After a moment's thought, I cleared my throat and actively grasped his hand. All right, boyfriend. The next instant, my hand was squeezed back. I pretended to stay composed while staring ahead, but sweetness bubbled in my chest. Just like that, I somehow ended up with a boyfriend. Liam would pick me up after class for meals. He'd even call me at night. When my roommate Lucas found out, he teased, "Is it the same guy you used a bolt from?" My silence was deafening. Right. Sitting nearby, turned around curiously. Bolt? What's the story? Too embarrassed to explain, I deflected. It's late bedtime. People. Lucas chuckled as he opened his mouth to say more. His phone rang. I scrambled onto my bunk and yanked the curtain shut, tuning out the world until his words drifted through. Hey, Oliver, you're in rut? I'm coming back now. Confused, I peeked out as Lucas headed out. Why go back for your brother's rut? Did I miss something in the textbooks? Lucas paused, ears suspiciously pink, but answered calmly, an omega's scent soothes alphas in rut. Ryan glanced at him, then smirked at my clueless face. Exactly. You should try it next time. Me? The textbooks did mention that. Still felt weird. But if they said so. Winter arrived with the university's first snowfall. Finals week loomed. Everyone hustling across campus. I'd been cramming at the library till closing time. Yet there stood Liam waiting outside. I rushed over. Why come? I told him I'd be studying late. It was nearly 10 p.m. Freezing out. He cupped my chilled hands. Voice rough, missed you. Something fell off. The air thickened with sharp citrus. Was he entering rut? My heat cycle wasn't due yet, and I never carried suppressants. Got your suppressants? He shook his head, nuzzling my shoulder. Can I bite you? First time hearing him act coquettishly, how could I refuse? Then I remember my roommate's words. Omega sense calm rutting alphas. As his boyfriend, I should handle this. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Sure. We went back to the same hotel as last time. Whether intentional or not, it was the exact same room. After closing the door, I deliberately released some pheromones and confidently turned around. Go ahead and bite, I said with feigned nonchalance. Second time's the charm, right? I didn't really understand how his rut compared to my heat cycle, but figured a quick bite should suffice. Boy, was I wrong. The moment his teeth grazed my scent gland, electric currents shot up from my soles. My head tilted back involuntarily as whimpers escaped my throat. My legs buckled instantly, but his arm caught me around the waist. Our bodies pressed flush against each other. Something felt familiar. Liam? I stammered. You know, maybe we should. May I? His husky voice vibrated against my ear, deeper and more intoxicating than usual. I swallowed hard, suddenly aware of my own rising temperature. Did you bring, a protection? In one fluid motion, he turned me around to meet those dark, stormy eyes. The corner of his mouth quirked up before his lips captured mine in a devastatingly tender kiss. Bought the whole pharmacy. He murmured against my mouth. The journey from doorway to bed became a blur of discarded clothes, sinking into the mattress. I stared up at his hovering silhouette and made my move. Let me take charge this time. Sure, I'm an Omega, but these farm-bred muscles had to count for something. His eyes glinted with amusement. Next time, sweetheart, let me have this round, rut privileges. I groaned. Fine, but go easy. Okay? Promise. Later. Relax. His command did nothing as tidal waves of sensation crashed over me. Dawn was breaking when we finally stilled, sheets clinging to sweat-slicked skin, drifting toward unconsciousness. One thought persisted. How do we get here? Memory flashback. Little Liam Johnson used to be my personal stress ball. I'd steal his snacks and threaten him into silence. Yet he'd always share his lunchbox willingly next time. The kid had mastered the art of peaceful coexistence. His empty mansion became our hideout, cramming for tests. Binge eating, junk food. Killing time. Then middle school happened. Liam was often teased by classmates for his delicate features, with some boys cruelly mocking him as effeminate and giving him nasty nicknames. Despite his gentle nature, never protesting, I couldn't tolerate it and started firing back viciously. Why don't we call you Gummy after that missing tooth? Look who's talking, Shorty with pizza face. The bullies turned crimson and lunged at me. By the end of the fight, I was covered in bruises and too ashamed to go home. He wordlessly brought out the arnica oil when I showed up at his place. Gripping his wrist, I demanded angrily, how can you just take their crap? If even I wouldn't bully him this way. Who gave them the right? His gaze flickered before softening into a sunlit smile. I have you, don't I? My pulse did something weird when his laughter blended with the cicada's summer song. Wait, what was I thinking? He's my bro. But that night when his teeth sank into my scent gland, our brotherhood shattered like glass, waking sore with the room still dark. I tried reaching for my phone only to get yanked back by an arm around my waist. Sleep more. Came the gravelly morning voice. What time is it? Dunno. The air still carried sharp lemon notes. His rut wasn't over. Before I could react, he moved. I scrambled backward. My finals are next week. Don't you dare. Last night's frenzy already meant I'd be limping today. But rut-driven men don't negotiate. Hot breath ghosted over my neck as he rumbled. You've got recovery days. Even my athletic build couldn't endure this. When I finally woke at noon, sunlight revealed the cleared pheromones and my smirking tormentor. Trying to starve me to death? I glared. The corners of Liam's mouth twitched as he carried over lunch, schooling his expression under my death stare. Seizing opportunity, I batted my lashes. My legs are jelly. Carry me to wash up. He hoisted me without comment. But as he lifted me, thunk. My eyes widened at the fallen object. A whole box of suppressants? Liam's expression stiffened. His voice slightly strained. What if I said I just bought them? Yeah, right. Like I'd believe that. I didn't speak to him for days after that. He tried bribing me with snacks and sweet-talking until I reluctantly forgave him. Our days passed in endless banter and bickering. By junior year, Lucas had finished his credits early and started interning at his brother Oliver's company. When he moved out of the dorm, I felt unexpectedly wistful. But he beamed with anticipation. I want to become outstanding enough to lighten my brother's workload. His words struck me. I never considered such ambitions before. Getting into a university had been my pinnacle of success. While I drifted through life contentedly, Liam had been excelling these past 3 years. I'd even overheard professors messaging him about grad school recommendations. But if I returned to my hometown after graduation, would we become long distance? An unfamiliar ache tightened my chest. That evening over dinner, Liam immediately noticed my subdued mood. What's wrong? He asked, concern etching his features. Staring at my rice bowl, I blurted, which grad schools are you applying to? Mit Ostenfut. Of course. When I stayed silent, he gently ruffled my hair. Even if we're apart, I'll visit every weekend. I swatted his hand away. Who said we'd have to be apart? 2 years later, during graduation season, Liam got into Stanford while I aced the university's grad program. Marching into our shared apartment, I shoved my acceptance letter at him. Impressed? Genius since childhood. While Ivy Leagues were beyond me, staying local at a university? Piece of cake. Loving someone really does push you to grow better together. The man before me studied the letter, his features more chiseled than our freshman year selves. Wiping flour-dusted hands on his apron, he smiled. Perfect timing. I made your favorites. Since moving in together, Liam had voluntarily become chief cook and housekeeper. Aside from his enthusiastic bedtime habits, he was practically perfect. My eyes lit up at the feast. Let's eat. But strong arms circled my waist before I could reach the table. A kiss brushed my crown. How about dessert first? Baby? Only when seated across his lap did realization dawn. I'm hungry. Eat your meal. He murmured against my neck. I'll enjoy mine. Oh, God. I wanted to pack up and catch the first train back home. Liam's epilogue, the smartest decision Liam ever made? Sneaking to Ethan's house during college application season when the Smith family was away. He subtly probed Ethan's mother for information. When he found out Ethan had presented as an Omega, his heart began racing uncontrollably. Originally, he thought even if Ethan became an Alpha, it wouldn't matter, he could still pursue an Alpha-Alpha relationship. But now Ethan planned to attend a university as an Omega. With all those hormone-driven alphas on campus, someone as inherently charming as Ethan would surely get snatched up. After careful consideration, he ultimately chose a university too. Ivy League schools could wait for graduate studies. But if Ethan slipped away, there'd be no second chances. Looking back, he really owed Oliver Brown a debt of gratitude. Temporary markings truly worked wonders.